Hey people in YouTube land, Zach Hall here. I just want to do a quick Bible update that a subscriber asked me to do on the Cambridge large print. He just wanted to know how it's broken in and how well it lays flat and just how I use it. And so I'm going to do that and also do some comparisons for you as well as far as seeing other large prints that you might be interested in. So to give a report on how it's held up, this Bible is held up very well. I couldn't be happier with it. I use it quite frequently to do cross-referencing and looking up different things, and I've used it for devotions, and so very happy with it. It comes in a clamshell box from Cambridge. Pretty standard. It's a nice box. The box hasn't taken much damage because I don't use it as much. But as far as the Bible goes, the French Morocco cover has been awesome. It's definitely loosened up since I've gotten it. It was very stiff when I got it, but I kind of knew that knowing French Morocco. But it's a very durable leather, and once it starts breaking in, it's really nice to feel. So it's a printed grain on there. Everything looks nice. Everything's still in place. I've had this Bible for about 4 months, and so vinyl paste-off liner still very much intact. And I'll show you that now that it's kind of broken in and I've used it. It will stay open in Genesis. When I first got it, it did not want to stay open there. So you can leave it open there. If I use this every day constantly, this would probably lay completely flat. But as far as how everything's held up, the paper is still great quality. Haven't had any issues with it as far as the binding or any pages starting to fall out. It's gone on a couple trips. I take it to church sometimes. I read from it devotionally. So it does get use. It doesn't just sit around. The ribbon marker is still in great shape as well. The gold gilding is still holding up. It's got a couple nicks on it from use. And then I'll show you here in Romans real quick some of the notes I've taken, just so you can kind of see how the paper holds up. So there's some notes there in Pigment Micron. You can see you can write in the margin. So there's enough to take some notes, some references. I was even able to fit some here in the inner margin in Romans. So that was pretty cool. The bleed through is not horrible at all. Font's very nice. The ghosting is minimal. And you can see here we're in Romans. We'll flip over here to the end of Revelation, and it still lays flat. And then at the back of this Bible, I've put in a reading plan because I use it mainly as my devotional Bible. And so this is a plan for Matthew Everhard. He also has a YouTube channel, and many of you know who he is. He has this Bible reading plan that he made and does a free printout for anybody who wants it. So you can just go to his webpage and print it off if you're interested in this. But it's just a simple checkbox. He's got every book of the Bible with every chapter, and as you read it, you just mark it off. And so that fits kind of nicely back here in the back of the Bible. So it's held up very well over 4 months of use. Again, couldn't be happier with it. Fonts is amazing, easy to hold, easy to carry. Give you some simple comparisons here real quick. We'll look at the Thomas Nelson large print thin line. Great layout from Thomas Nelson as well here. So you'll see and notice here that the Cambridge is bolder. It's a little bit more bulky of a font. The line spacing in the Thomas Nelson is a little bit better. A little bit easier to read as far as line spacing goes. But the font is smaller than the Cambridge. And that's because the Cambridge is a bold font. The Thomas Nelson is dark, but it is not bold. So you can kind of see the difference there. The Cambridge has less ghosting because the paper is better. It also is thicker though because of the paper. And obviously Thomas Nelson thin line, it's trying to be a thin Bible. But the thin line from Thomas Nelson is taller and slightly wider than the Cambridge large print. So the next one we'd look at would be pretty much the younger brother or the little brother of the Cambridge large print. That would be the Church Bible Publishers 180 series. And this is the exact same Bible, page for page. It's just that the Church Bible Publishers one uses a smaller font. So this is a 8.5, whereas this is a 10.5 comparison there. So you can kind of see there, same font style, same layout, same spacing. The ghosting is definitely better or less in the Cambridge, and there's a lot more ghosting in the Church Bible Publishers. That's because the CBP, Church Bible Publishers one, is a darker and more bold font, and so it kind of shows through a little bit more than in the Cambridge. The Cambridge, though, is a bigger font. The paper is definitely better in the Cambridge. It's not horrible in the Church Bible Publishers, but it's definitely not as good as the Cambridge one. The Cambridge, as far as color, is more of an eggshell white, whereas the Church Bible Publishers is more of a bright white. So you get more contrast on the Church Bible Publishers printing of it. Now, as far as size goes on these two, the Church Bible Publishers, because it is a shrunk down font, has slightly a smaller body to it. It's not quite as tall, and it's not quite as wide as the Cambridge. Last comparison here for you will be the Bearing Precious Seed large print. Very good large print. This used to be my main Bible until a subscriber pointed out that part of the book of Deuteronomy is missing in it. And so it literally just didn't have part of the scripture in it. So I stopped using it after that just because it didn't become practical. But you can see here in the font, it is a very beautiful font from the Bearing Precious Seed large print. It's a 12-point font compared to the 10.5 from Cambridge. The line spacing is better in the Bearing Precious Seed, and the word spacing is better. But the paper in the Cambridge is a lot better, and the font is more bold in the Cambridge. And so there's a lot more ghosting in the Bearing Precious Seed. A lot more. The paper is very thin in that Bible. But it never bothered me. However, I know that some people do not like that. So there's a good comparison shot for you as far as how that looks. As far as size-wise, the Cambridge's 10.5-point font definitely makes it a smaller Bible than the Bearing Precious Seed large print. But because the Bearing Precious Seed's paper is so thin, it is actually thinner than the Cambridge large print. So you can look at that up there. So I'll have to say, the Cambridge is definitely still probably my favorite large print Bible. Now, I haven't got my hands on a large print Windsor text yet from Trinitarian Bible Society. That one may change my mind, but you just can't really beat the boldness of the large print in this Cambridge edition. It's just so beautiful. It's a big enough size. The 10.5 point is really going to be big enough for you even if you have poor eyesight. And yet it's still in a very easy to carry format. I mean, this is one of the easiest Bibles to carry. Just a great size and shape. Even to sit in your lap or hold in a chair, it's going to service you well. Or you can put it on a desk. So it's definitely got some utility to it. So again, after 4 months of use, it's definitely broken in better since then when I got out of the box. Out of the box, this Bible will be very stiff for you. It's gonna probably make you think, wow, is this a Cambridge? But you got to work it in. It's got to grow with you. So make sure you use it if you get one. It'll break in just fine. It'll start laying flat. Everything will start getting softer as far as the cover. And it just will be a great reading experience and a Bible that's going to last you a while if you take care of it. So I hope this comparison was helpful. Again, if you have any questions or comments, maybe I didn't touch on something you would like to see in the video, I can maybe answer that for you. Or if you have any more questions as far as cost. Oh, I was going to say, this Bible cost $125 retail from Cambridge. You can find it cheaper on evangelicalbible.com. It sells there for about $80. And I believe that gets you free shipping from them. So it'd be $80 flat. You can get this on Amazon sometimes for cheaper, but generally it runs a little bit more than Evangelical Bible. But you can typically find it cheaper than the Cambridge price. So those would be the sources I kind of recommend you to check out. Again, the other ones were from Thomas Nelson, the large print. Then you have the Church Bible Publishers 180. You can find that at churchbiblepublishers.com. And then last, there's the Bearing Precious Seed large print, which is $35 for a genuine leather edition. However, I would call them ahead of time and ask them if they fixed the typing issue in Deuteronomy, just to make sure they have all the words of Scripture in there before you buy it. So thank you guys again. If you've watched this far, please subscribe and ring that bell for all notifications. Also, again, we have our 1,000 subscriber giveaway coming up where we have a big announcement there. It's going to be a pretty awesome giveaway and some really cool news as far as the channel and life events. So I hope you all have a great night. Take care and God bless.